most famous physical therapist on the internet.
Hi, folks. I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Heineck, physical therapist.
Together we are the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
In our opinion, of course.
Jeez, oh my gosh. Okay, today we're going to talk about what does a torn meniscus feel like. Plus, we're going to show you 3 self-tests so you can kind of determine whether or not you have maybe a tear on the inside or tear on the outside even. We'll break it down.
Either way, it's tore.
Yeah. By the way, if you're new to our channel, please take a second to subscribe to us. We provide videos how to stay healthy, fit, pain-free, and we upload every day. Also, go to bobandbrad.com. Go to the giveaway section. We're always giving something away. This week, we're giving away some Bob and Brad new exercise bands. We just came out with these.
Yeah, there you go. There's a whole set of 5 in this nice big.
Yeah, nice handles.
There they go. They look
high
nice.
quality. We looked the world over.
Well, you can depend on that with Bob and Brad.
That's right.
Carry on, Bob.
You can also find it on Facebook. It'll be pinned to the top of the page. Go to Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok if you want a 60-second version of our program. All right, let's get started.
All right.
So, let's first show where the meniscus is.
Sure.
It's the cartilage in your knee, the thing that provides the cushioning and maybe a little bit of shape so the bones fit each other well.
Some stability, etc. And it's right here. As a matter of fact, there's a nice model of it right here. If you open up the knee, take the kneecap, get it out of the way, and you can see right here that,
it's kind of a figure 8, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I've heard people say, I remember in anatomy, they're like horseshoe, and this model doesn't show it, but actually there is some of a horseshoe shape on both. So you got the medial aspect and the lateral aspect. The medial
is the inside of the knee, and lateral is the outside of the knee.
Exactly, Bob. And look at that. They even have the ACL in this model. It's kind of nice.
So obviously that's not anatomically totally correct, probably.
No, but it gives you a good idea.
So when you're young, a tear is usually a result of a sporting accident or some type of trauma.
Right. Oftentimes a twisting is involved with pressure and, force.
Right. When you get older, unfortunately, like 40 or 50 and over, it can just occur from overuse, or someone might be just walking along one day and all of a sudden, it just they degenerate over time. This happened to my wife. This happened to our office manager.
I really think it's a lot of times I've had patients where they said, well, I had their weight on the knee and they were turning.
Right.
So there's a twisting component.
But your
with
body
weight.
should be able to.
It's like stuff you've been doing all your life, and all of a sudden, why now? It's like, well.
So in other words, if you're older, you can't rule that out.
Sure.
I mean, that it might. A lot of us have tears in our knees, in our meniscus, and we don't know it.
Right.
They've had many studies that have confirmed this. That they've done MRIs on people with little to no pain. And they look and they have some tears in there.
Right.
It's like gray hair and wrinkles. It's part of aging.
Mm-hmm.
All right. First, we're going to talk about a small tear. With a small tear, again, many of us may have a small tear.
Sure.
And we don't even realize it. You maybe have little to no pain. If it's a recent injury, or it may came from a recent injury, but you may walk normal, but there might be mild swelling. There's going to be pain with squatting, getting up to stand.
Yep.
That's when you're really putting a lot of pressure on the knee. Lifting something heavy.
Sure.
So really not too bad. These
up and down steps.
Up and down stairs. Yeah. These tend to heal on their own.
Sure.
For the most case.
Yep.
Again, the meniscus, especially as you go into the outer reaches, it doesn't have as much circulation, right?
Right. Meniscus is a white tissue. There's not a good blood supply, so it takes longer to heal.
All right. Now we go to a moderate tear.
Wow.
Now this has had noticeable discomfort, sharp, short-lived pain. It'd be my sharp jolts of pain.
I think can you see this, Liz? If you look at, if you just imagine this meniscus is, it can tear, and sometimes it can flip and get out of the way, and you don't have a smooth surface anymore. It tears and it creates a ridge in there, or it can flip over, and that's when you can on this, do we talk about locking, or is that not?
That's the next one.
That's the next
larger
one. Okay.
tear.
Yep.
Yeah. So with this one, you may have trouble bending the knee.
Yep.
And also the same thing, squatting and twisting the knee can really give you a sharp pain.
Sure.
So it's definitely, I mean, most of these are going to get better, but you may still have lingering pain.
Sure.
I mean, especially moments of lingering pain.
Yep.
All right, the third one, the larger tear. No doubt you injured yourself. There's not going to be any doubt. It's going to be a sharp pain, swelling right away. Maybe a popping sound, a grinding sound. The knee feels like it's catching. That's what Brad was talking about there.
Yep.
Oh, that meniscus could flip over, even a piece of it could flip over,
Yep.
be like a stone in your shoe.
Yeah, and I've had a number of patients where they tell me that, then I go to the test we're going to show.
Right,
And
right.
I've had a couple of patients, I said, you got to go to the doctor and get
Yeah.
it checked out because it's just too severe. There's no sense in working with it.
Yeah, it may lock up and not be able to extend or bend.
Yep. And it's very painful at that point. But usually they kind of work it and
Sometimes it gets better.
or it'll get better temporarily and then they do the same movement and it locks up again.
Right. The knee might even give way on them. So you got to
Yeah.
be careful with this.
Mhm.
This is really the only instance in which most surgeons now are recommending surgery.
Mhm.
If you have a moderate tear or a small tear, they almost never say it's not. You're just not going to do any better than if you just have therapy.
Sure.
But if you have one that's locking up, in that case, you may consider it.
Sure.
Arthroscopic
Yep.
surgery. All right, the test, Brad.
Test.
We got 3 tests. The first one is the Thesly. Again, I'm sure these are all named after people. I apologize for not knowing.
Well,
are.
I'm sure it's probably a doctor and
Yeah.
yeah. she'll get
Now he's going to
over
be
it.
mad. So we're just facing each other here, Brad. aren't we?
Sure.
So we're going to bend their knee. Let's say I'm testing the left side. Brad's testing his right side. I'm going to bend their knee just about 20 degrees, which
Yep.
is just a slight bend. And when I'm in this position now, I'm going to rotate my whole body like this. Not my, well, yeah, rotating on the knee.
Right. So the other leg is up in the air like
Yeah.
we have.
And Brad and I were just talking about this. This has been a good test that we've been using. That it seems to.
Right. There's a
Pick it
McMurray
out.
test that I learned in school. And I like this one a lot better. And there's another one I do too. But I'll do this and I'll do a little more flexion.
Sure.
and
Yep.
Compare.
Yep. Absolutely. You
And
can
then
take
the
it down
nice thing is
further.
compare it to the other leg. If one leg, your good leg feels completely pain free and you're doing this and you feel some grinding or pain, it's a good positive test.
Yeah, and you can also test it. Work for a while with it and retest it, like in a couple of weeks or a month, and then you can
Right.
see if it's getting better at all.
Exactly. The
So-
same test feels much better. It's a good sign, obviously.
All right, this one is called Aegis test. There's actually 2 ways to do it. You turn your feet out, externally rotate. Brad must like that one because his legs are naturally
Yeah, I mean,
externally
I feel
rotate.
really comfortable.
All right, and you're just going to squat down. Now, if there's pain with this is testing the medial meniscus or the meniscus on the inside of the knee.
Sure.
So if there's pain with this one, it's probably more likely the medial meniscus. Now, as you certainly understand, you turn the feet in, and you're not going to be able to squat as far this way.
Nope.
But you're testing more of the lateral meniscus
Right.
now. So if any of these cause pain, you could possibly have a meniscus problem.
Right.
Now,
It's not
we're
100%
it's not 100% certain by any means, but it certainly gives you a starting point.
Right.
So-
Exactly.
And remember, Brad and I can fix just about anything.
Except
A
for.
broken heart, but we're going to work on it.
Right. Yeah, anyway,
you look
Bob, I want to
confused.
mention one thing. It's my hair, Bob. I can't do a thing with it anymore, and I don't know what the hell to do about it.
Well, you just wait a couple years, it'll be gone.
It's turning gray, it's falling out, and I can't even comb it anymore.
I don't have hardly any left here, so.